In Cree, the word Attawapiskat means the space between the rocks. In Ottawa,
so what the hell is going on?
It has become the symbol of a nationwide problem.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Winter is hitting the James Bay coast, and yet we have, as a result of a severe housing crisis, families who are now living in tents and cabins. This past Friday, the communities of Saskatchewan, Attawapiskat, and Fort Albany declared a state of emergency.
An entire Canadian community living in third world countries. That's what we see right now. In the Arctic cold, minus 22 today.
There are dozens of Attawapiskats right across this country. It's not the only community that's facing these conditions and these difficulties.
We informed the chief the community will be placed in third-party management to ensure that community needs are addressed.
The third-party manager is not coordinating relief. That is a fiction. It was the community that ordered the trailers. It was the community that worked with emergency measures, and it's a community that is not going to pay for this gold-plated emissary who's twisting his thumbs over in Winnipeg.
Mr. Speaker, the buck stops with the Prime Minister. When will he stop blaming others for this crisis and fix this Canadian tragedy?
There's a need, obviously, for more services and infrastructure. There is also clearly a need for better management. The government will ensure both of those things.
The way it is right now, he's pointing the problem to me. That was my fault, which is not. I declared an emergency, and I expected a positive response, not to have a third party in my case.
So are you satisfied with the agreement that was made with your court case? Are you satisfied with the court case?
Finally, I am very concerned about the lack of progress in improving living conditions in First Nations communities. In fact, not only have living conditions not improved, they have gotten worse. Unless First Nations and the federal government find new ways of working together to address many obstacles, living conditions on reserves will lag behind the rest of Canada for generations to come.
The Creator has the ultimate power and authority. Maybe it does happen for a reason. Maybe the Creator wants to teach the government, and He's using us to make the government improve His leadership.
I have 5 kids. One's living with my mom, and I have 4 here.
Yes.
My oldest will be 11, and Lindsay, she's 5. Tristan's 4. Keelan's 2, and Lydia's 1.
There you go. Yes, you too.
At times, it's really cold when the wind chills minus 40 to 50. It's really, really cold.
Yeah. Puppy.
I have no running water in here. I have no washroom. I'm only using an extension cord for electricity. Yeah. I run inside to cook for my kids, and I give them a bath. I run inside, mostly back and forth.
How long have you lived here?
2 years. I was living with my in-laws. It was getting too crowded in there.
But was this built for housing people?
It was for the people that had a emergency backup sewage.
Oh, yes.
So when it became available, I asked for one.
Yeah.
And did you expect you were going to stay here that long?
No. I'm on a waiting list for a house. Abba. Abba. I'm hoping to get a house soon. Real soon.
Even though we tell the government that we're underfunded, it's just like talking to deaf ears. It goes one ear and it goes out the other way. They don't seem to hear us. Material is very expensive when you ship it up here. A lot of the funds go towards freight. Freight costs very expensive. It takes a chunk of our funding. And the funding that's been given to us by the Indian University doesn't increase at all. So as a result, we're into deficit. We used to build 20 houses. Back then it was cheaper. It's not like now. The same funding given to us, we were able just to build maybe 12.
Kattawapiskat est situé à 700 km au nord de Timmins, en Ontario, dans le territoire subarctique des cris, où les températures peuvent descendre jusqu'à 40 et 50 degrés sous zéro. Vers 1850, les missionnaires catholiques ont commencé à visiter les cris dans leur campement sur leur territoire de chasse à Kattawapiskat. En 1893, les Oblats ont construit une chapelle sur les rives de la rivière Kattawapiskat. Et en 1901, la compagnie de la baie d'Hudson y a érigé un poste de traite. La population continuait à vivre dans les bois, mais se rendait à Kattawapiskat pour faire du troc, assister à la messe et se chercher des épouses. Ils demeuraient dans des tipis et des wigwams recouverts de mousse. Plus tard, une scierie a été achetée par la mission et ils ont commencé à construire des maisons en bois rond. La mousse a continué à servir d'isolant. Ces personnes appartenaient alors à la bande de Fort Albany. Puis, en 1929, elles ont été reconnues comme une bande distincte, tout en faisant encore partie du traité numéro 9. Même si ce traité stipulait que 1 000 carrés serait accordé à chaque famille de 5 personnes, cette promesse n'a pas été tenue. Les familles ont été confinées sur une réserve trop petite pour leur permettre de survivre, puisqu'elles avaient l'habitude de se procurer leur nourriture sur leur territoire. Ce mode de vie a pratiquement pris fin quand les colonisateurs ont contrôlé leurs terres, leurs ressources naturelles et leur façon de vivre. Dans les années 1970, Kattawapiskat comptait 600 habitants. Aujourd'hui, la population sur la réserve est de 1700. À cause de la croissance rapide de la population et des logements inadéquats, environ 1000 personnes ont besoin d'un logis. Ils finissent par vivre sous la tente ou dans des cabanes sans électricité ni eau courante, ou encore chez des parents dans des logements surpeuplés. Dans plusieurs cas, entre 20 et 30 personnes vivent dans une petite maison familiale.
Long time ago, when they used to build houses, they used to make them with insulation and with more better. 1970s, they would have porches and all of them to withstand the weather in wintertime. Now they don't make those kind of houses. They only make a CHMSC housing, or the one that you rent. They use those, but that doesn't come with stoves. They have trailers now, mobile trailers. They're only meant for down south. They're not meant for up north to withstand the weather in wintertime.
Une fois construites, les maisons sont louées aux familles. Après avoir versé un loyer durant 15 ans, les familles en deviennent propriétaires. Dans un territoire subarctique, c'est extrêmement difficile d'entretenir ces maisons parce qu'on n'a pas accès aux matériaux ni aux quincailleries.
Right now, there's overcrowding housing, mold housing, and most of these houses that were built 60s, 70s, they need a major renovation, so they need a new house complete. Yeah.
I don't even know where they're going to build those houses that they're bringing. I really don't know where they're going to put them. We don't have that much room.
I've been here about a year and a half. I was up in Ottawa all my life. I just came back home on the reserve. It's really a big change from the city. Yeah, living like this. We got nothing, no hydro, running water. We go, our family, my family, go take showers, use the washroom. Yep. Hopefully get a better place. Get a better place soon. For her, because I worry about her here. She might get sick. That's what I worry about. Easy. This is where I want to be right now. I want to be here for my daughter. And yeah, I'm planning to get my other kids back home. Back here. I got two. One's a 5-year-old, the other one, I think she's 15 now. And I'm already a grandpa. My daughter had a baby girl.
Oh la la.
Yeah.
That's young.
Yeah, she was really young, yeah.
And is she in Ottawa too?
Yeah, she's in Ottawa. Yeah. So that's what my plan is, just I'd like to get them back home. Because I was a single father, right, in the city.
Yes.
I had both of my kids, so. I was working 9 hours, 12-hour shifts a day at that time, and I had my mother trying to help me out, friends and family, other friends in the family in the city trying to help me, right?
Yeah.
So it was pretty hard doing it by myself, but working, coming home, cooking, taking care of my son, and got her now. The way they live up here, it's just, I don't know. It's like I said, I'm just getting used to it. Getting used to it. I was surprised when I seen my house myself, where people are staying, and so I'm actually doing it myself, living it. So it's kind of, at least I know how they feel, right? You know what they're going through. So. I'm gonna go chop some wood. Start a fire.
À courte distance de la pauvreté, sur le territoire traditionnel de KATTAWAPISKAK, la mine de diamants Victor exploitée par De Beers est à 90 km à l'ouest de la réserve. En novembre 2005, une entente a été conclue entre De Beers Canada et les membres de la Première Nation de KATTAWAPISKAK. Depuis lors, plusieurs résidents de la réserve ont des emplois à la mine, qui a aussi conclu des contrats de partenariat avec certains cris. Si tout se déroule comme prévu par De Beers, la mine Victor produira 6 millions de carats de diamants bruts durant sa durée de vie. En 2010, Lors du Festival international du film de Toronto, une actrice bien connue a porté un incroyable collier de 75 carats de diamants bruts provenant de la mine Victor. Il valait $1 million. Ron Geshinsky, un gémologue reconnu, a déclaré qu'en moyenne, la mine Victor est sans doute la mine ayant la plus forte teneur en gemmes au monde, en ce qui a trait à la consistance et à la qualité. En 2009, certains résidents de KATTAWAPISKAK ont protesté contre la présence de la mine de diamants de Beers.
We started our protest last spring west of Attawapiskat, which is De Beers occupying the land, which the people of Attawapiskat stated that the wealth of De Beers Canada is moving south. It's not reaching the community, and the community also had a petition going in the community asking De Beers Canada to reopen the agreement because the agreement is not benefiting Attawapiskat.
Jusqu'à ce jour, l'accord n'a toujours pas été rouvert.
I was here about 2 weeks ago when we first were requested by Chief Spence to come into Attawapiskat to see what the Canadian Red Cross could do to help in the housing crisis here. Our primary focus when we first came were 25 families living in tent frames and sheds. Then we also went into a construction trailer where there's about 90 individuals that also require significant assistance to bring their standard of living up quite a bit, especially during the winter months, to ensure that at least they have a warm place to sleep, and see what else we could do to make it a better facility for these 90 individuals. We haven't really done much by way of other homes, but hearing reports of overcrowding in other homes. So there are quite a few people beyond just those that the emergency was declared for that continue to need help.
De Beers donated shelters, trailers. Yeah. These trailers were occupied at the original Victor mine. I was there when the beginning of this exploration stage, and these trailers were used there before. So when they don't need them anymore, they upgraded their buildings. We asked them those trailers, yeah, and I'm one of them that lives in the trailers. It's going to be my 3rd year in January. I'm living there.
I was here 2009 December, but I moved out for a while, and I moved back March 2011.
How many children do you have?
3. A 3-year-old and 21 months old and 5 months old. This doesn't feel like a home to me, for my kids too. So I'm just hoping that I would get a new house for my kids. Yeah. Do you guys want to see that? Sir?
Yes.
This is a woman's washroom. This is a men's shower. This is the woman's shower. Laundry room. Our electricity room. And this is another woman's bathroom. Here's the kitchen.
to that side too.
Is this the only place for cooking?
Some people usually cook in their room.
Yeah.
They have those little burners.
Yes, but there's no big table down here for them to eat.
There used to be tables, but I don't know what happened to them.
No.
Beyond the tents, beyond the unheated cabins, beyond the molded, condemned homes, there are still 90 people living in a trailer that has no sprinkler water suppression, that has very few washrooms. So now that he has personally taken command of this community, what plan does he have to get those people into long-term housing? Does he have a plan, or is this a desire to punish an impoverished little community for making him look bad?
The Honourable Minister of Aboriginal Affairs.
Mr. Speaker, our priority is to address the urgent health and safety needs of the people of Attawapiskat. We informed the Chief that community will be placed in third-party management to ensure that community needs are addressed. We are working with the community and with the province of Ontario through Emergency Management Ontario to quickly implement the community's existing emergency management plan to ensure that residents have access to warm, dry, and safe shelter.
Well said. The member for St. Paul.
Chief Teresa Spence denies suggestions of financial mismanagement, and she's accusing the Aboriginal Affairs Minister of sending a third-party manager into Attawapiskat to distract from the lack of emergency help to ease the housing crisis there.
He's playing a game, and he's playing with my people's life. That's not acceptable.
Accountant Jacques Marion flew in yesterday to take over business, but was immediately asked to leave. And support for Attawapiskat, the Assembly of First Nations is asking the UN to investigate whether Ottawa is meeting its legal obligations, and it's demanding that the band be allowed to manage itself.
What we don't support, what must end, is the externally imposed unilateral decisions on the part of government.
Third party was not a solution, especially in a crisis, like when you declare an emergency. I was, okay, what's going on here? Why is third party imposed to us? You know, I declare an emergency for housing, now the financial. The government, I think there are times that they forget what's the treaty about. They failed to honor it and recognize it and respect it. When our grandfathers signed that, even the government, the purpose was to build the future together, you know, with respect and honor and to share the land. And that's what we've been doing as First Nation. We respected the government, we shared the land, and we've been honest with them. And we never took an advantage of them. But for them, they've been doing the opposite. They want to be more in control instead of being fair, like a partnership. And that's where the government needs to say, you know, okay, we did wrong. We have the opportunity to fix this treaty again and have a good relationship. Because it's been going on too long, and it's really hurting First Nations, because we did our part. But them, they're just keeping violating the treaty. And it's really important for Canadian citizens to understand what is the treaty, and for our youth, our First Nation youth, to be educated about the treaty and for them to protect it for the future. Because, you know, if we don't, and that treaty is going to be dissolved slowly. And I know the government is planning that road, but they need to recognize it's there forever. Yeah. And there is a purpose for it. That means to build the future together, not to fight with each other.
I wanted to give this to your community and to you. And I'm giving it to you because you work a lot with the youth. And I know you do a lot of fundraising to help your community and the kids, to keep them on the right path, to teach them their culture of how our people lived for years. It's with great pleasure that I give this staff to you.
I do the donation drive. Has been going on for the last 3 years since the sewage backup in July 2009. There's about 90 people that were affected. So they went to tents. We have a website. It's about how we can do to help the community. There's a lot of people that need food in the community. It's not just the people that are in the shelter. It's not the people mostly at the tent house. It's the people that are actually living in the houses like I have in.
Oh, really?
Yeah. People that are working. They run out of food too. I usually get calls every day. Not even 2 days that goes by. They ask for food. Sometimes I would feed them with my own food. My husband is a hunter. He goes hunting all the time, so we always make sure our fridge is full. So we rely solely on the wild food. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people in the community do not go hunting, so they ask for food sometimes. So we give them mostly our food that we store, the frozen food like caribou, fish, rabbit, those things. We try our best to feed them. Sometimes the people here are quiet. They're kind of embarrassed. But I tell them, don't be embarrassed, because I know what it's like living like that.
Diabetics too, they don't want fat in there?
I grew up eating from food from the dump.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Sometimes I would not eat 3 to 4 days. I would only eat by water. And that dump is where I would try to find food to eat.
I started a year ago volunteering at the sports place. I decided to run bingo. It's for the raise money to operate the whole facility, like the community hall and the arena. The minor hockey uses it from 4 after work until 7 in the evening. After 7, it's public skating. It doesn't close until 11 at night. I use the money from fundraising to pay the hydro and to pay the phone and to pay the fuel to heat that place up.
I want to talk for a moment about the people who are directly responsible for the Attawapiskat town. I'm talking about the Indian band themselves. They built a gorgeous hockey arena, and they bought a Zamboni and shipped it up there. Seriously, a new Zamboni costs about 75 grand. Hey, maybe that really wasn't the most urgent thing for this poor town to buy. But if it wasn't, who's to blame?
Last year, I raised over $100,000, so I have decided to purchase a new Zamboni. I was surprised when I heard that, and they said they purchased Zamboni from my education funds. It's not true. I purchased that reserve from the fundraising I did last year, so it's not true.
The government's accusing the chief and council bought that Zamboni. But now we have online, there's lots of documents that prove that it's being paid for by the fundraising. Yeah. We have the drafts, We have the invoices, the purchase orders, freights and all that. The only thing that the council paid is for the freight.
I thought your crack reporter hit it on the head when she said you walk in and you wonder why these people are allowed a hockey arena. And she slipped. You know, and Greg would know this, you get funding from different envelopes, and so communities like Martin Falls, Kashechewan, other communities, they fight like hell to get a hockey arena, and you get that through a specific funding. In our communities where kids are killing themselves, and Moose Factory where we had 80 suicide attempts and 13 successes in one winter, that hockey arena is the difference between life and death. That's where you put the kids. You've got nowhere else in that community, nothing for them to do. So, you know, someone coming up from the Ottawa bubble might be thinking, why do they get a hockey arena if they're living in sheds? Well, you get a hockey arena and you're keeping kids from killing themselves. So thank God we got a hockey arena. Thank God we're going to get a school.
I'm going to continue working there. That's the best time I have when somebody have a big smile on their face and say, thank you.
I stayed away from reading any of the stuff that was going on. I don't have a TV, but I wasn't following anything on the internet. It was getting too much. And when I started, because I was hearing too, there's a lot of negative things, a lot of racism. And that really hurt to hear that people would think that way and say things like that. I knew for my own self that if I started taking all that in, then how can I be positive for the youth? I think one thing that really affected me a lot was when one of my students said she had to send her son out because where she was living in their shed, it was too cold. Like there was snow coming in. Like I didn't want to cry when she told me that because I had to be her strength. I had to be her teacher and her guide, like somebody here to support her. So when I see her father, I told her how proud I am of her coming to school and that she's doing really well. And he liked to hear that because she had a hard time. But she just left a few days ago to see her son. But for a young woman to have to send her son out because she has to live in a place that's too cold, it's really messed up. And I don't, just to hear the things that people are saying like that, I can't believe it. It could really, really hurt. So that's why I'm not listening to it. It's not to be ignorant. It's that if I listen to all that stuff, how can I wake up and be here for my kids every day?
I moved in this house when I was about 12 years old. My parents moved to Musni, and I'm stuck in this house here, looking after the house. Yeah. I got 4 kids now. My oldest is almost 7 years old.
7?
Almost, yeah.
Yes.
And my youngest one's a year and a half.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty rough in the winter time, yeah. To go to the bush almost say about 2 times a week just to go get wood, yeah. It was just built in 1992. It was a brand new house, and it was condemned 10 years after. The floor was all rotten floor. The ceilings got wet from the roof. Oh, yeah. Probably there's some holes on the roof, and all the ceiling got wet. All of these tiles there, they were all wet and they fall down. Yeah. And also that other room there, it's right here. You want to come and look in this room here. There used to be a big hole right here. As you can see, if I take this out, you can just feel the cold air coming in.
Yes.
Yeah. The fire started here. It was all black here. We just had to clean the walls, wash the walls, yeah.
What's your name?
So you can see there's a hole here also, right here.
Oh, look, you see that?
You see?
Oh my God.
Not really that good, no. If you want to go to that kitchen here, I'll show you where my kitchen is. Yeah, wait. So you can see this bar was here, so right now you can just feel it when you walk. See? Pretty soon somebody might fall off there. You can just feel it when you walk. It's all soft now. There's a hole right there too, and I just covered up with plywood.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. And there's another room here. Oh, it's right here. This is where the other fire started. Yeah, there was a fire here. Those wires there.
Yes.
They probably got wet and ignited the fire.
Oh my God.
This used to be my room when I was a kid, yeah. So I've been trying to get a plywood here and do it myself. Cover that up. I would love to live here if I could get a new house, I guess. Because I don't want to move to other town or other place. I like living here. This is where my family, my mom and dad was brought up here. Yeah. So it's kind of hard for me to leave this community. Yeah.
We've been asked to take on a secondary role by way of looking at what types of facilities would be available to act as an emergency shelter. So I'm back in the community for another week, working with the community to identify what buildings can be used and what's needed to do in the buildings in order to make it appropriate to be used as a shelter. Right now we're looking at the Healing Lodge as being the best location. It's already identified in the community's emergency plan as a location, so now we're looking at what we need to do to make it appropriate for people to live there. It's a gorgeous facility. Our plan is that the modifications that we're doing to it need to become permanent so that it would be easier for the community to continue using the Healing Lodge long after the people have left.
La maison de guérison sert de résidence temporaire pour ceux qui ont besoin de soutien durant une période difficile, comme à la suite du suicide de jeunes, d'accidents ou de problèmes de toxicomanie. Le cœur de ce programme est fondé sur la culture et la spiritualité des cris. La maison et ses cercles de guérison sont d'une importance cruciale pour la communauté.
They call Ottawa out of touch. We're surprised to hear Minister John Duncan declare this morning that people in tents would be moved imminently into a healing centre and sports complex.
Well, there's no reason why it can't happen today.
This is the healing centre he means. No one is moving there today. Might not be for a while. There's no water and it's kilometres out of town.
You know, Prime Minister Duncan said that people are already moving in the healing centre right now as you speak. That's a BS. It's not true. We have to have the money to renovate it. We are meeting the obstacles after another, like red tapes. You have to like follow the fire safety code. If there's a fire, the liability falls on back to the First Nation. We can't do that. And that's where we're at right now. One after another, we have to talk to this organization, this one, you know, it takes time. It doesn't just, it's not like that. And after, if we do succeed in that, it's going to be a long process to, even though we're trying to speed up things, only 4 families can be out there, you know, because the capacity, we have to follow that rule through. The way I see it, the government doesn't want to take responsibility.
The Honourable Minister of Aboriginal Affairs. Mr. Speaker,
But still, we cannot be angry. We have to forgive. You know, that's in our blood. Forgive the people, forgive no matter what, you know.
Encouraging a lot of peer teaching right now. And one student, again, he's having a hard time in and out of school. Finally got him to go out and like share his knowledge about teaching. He said he was going to teach the kids how to rabbit snare. So it was Friday, really cold day. Okay, not too many kids showed up, but we bundled up. We went out on his sled, and we went out. We had a fire, and the kids really had they had a rest. They had a little bit of a break from things, and they talked about how hard things are sometimes, and just that kind of quiet time, you know, when you're having a fire and people talk. That's that time when you start seeing that they really care about each other. Like, I saw that youth later in the weekend, and he had pride. Like, he's like, I went out and I taught the kids something, and he said, the whole school should be here. So to keep encouraging that, so if they hear negative things or feel that, just to have more strength and to have pride in their culture and to not let anybody put them down, and that we'll get through this. I think that we will.
I've been here 2 years. This only a shack, this is not a house. My son built this used for a shack, and they put me in this cell to stay here for a while. I don't have water.
No?
No. Yeah, I have to get water in my son's house. I used to heat her at night and build a fire in the morning.
You have electricity here?
Just one light and one switch.
Did you make that stove?
Yeah.
Is it wood? No.
Yeah, there's a insulation beside that stove in there.
Yes.
No, to get warm in the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to put insulation there. You won't get hot.
Because that's just a barrel, eh?
Just a barrel, 45 gallon. And I used to live in that house over there. This the house, used to 5 bedrooms on it.
Yes.
There's a mountain in my house. That's why I came down here with my wife.
Oh.
That's why I don't want to leave this house, because I used to live with my wife before she got sick.
How many children did you have?
I had 6 boys and 2 girls.
Yeah?
And I lost 2 boys. I lost one now, August 24 this year.
Oh,
that guy over there, that Richard.
What's his name?
Justin Wesley.
Justin?
Yeah. And my wife, I lost my wife at 2010, January 23. I still miss her, you know. That's why I stayed here, this house, you know. I'm happy when I dream about her. We used to drive around in the bush. We used to kill moose. Yeah. We used to go fishing sometimes. Every time we go in the bush, we only get better. And after we came back after 1 week, started getting sick again. That he used to live that house, you know. So it's like somebody just wait you to come inside your house. That's what happens. You used to get sick when you go back after in that house there. It's hard for me to do something. Sometimes I cry myself. Sometimes, you know, feel sad. I've got nothing way to turn, you know. Just like you, I'm just all alone myself. That's what I feel sometimes. I don't want to see my sons see me crying sometimes. Sometimes I used to walk in the bush and cry over there. That's what I feel sometimes, walk away sometimes to cry. Just don't want to see nobody to see me. When I cry, I feel better after that. That's what happens to me. It's happened to me a long time ago. After my mother died, I used to go in the bush walking around. It happens to me in Christmas Day. Most happens to me that every Christmas, before I got married, I used to cry in the bush, think about my mother on Christmas Day. I can walk anywhere, just in the lake or, you know, cry over there somewhere I walk. And I come back and I feel better after. Happened to me all the times that after my mother died. My teardrops falls in my eyes. Think about my mother on Christmas Day.
I'm kind of scared, to be honest with you, what will happen to us. But at the same time, I still have a little hope. There must be some, but I feel that the bad stuff would have to happen more to Palmer to get better. His name is Kuskin. Kuskin's name is Tidal Wave.
Yeah.
He's going to be the future chief after this all blows over.
Yes.
Right, Kuskin? You and a lot of other kids are our future leaders. But this time it's going to be better. He knows how to say wachi, mana? Wachi? Wachi? Kuskin?
He's so handsome. Oh my God.
His name is Kuskin. No wachi te. No wachi na. He says wachi.
Hello. How do you do? How do you do?
I find all the kids here now are English speaking.
Yes.
But there's a lot of other kids that still speak their mother tongue. What I do is I speak Cree with him, and then I speak English at the same time so he understands both.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
were you sleeping tonight? Yeah.
I'm going to teach him to be a traditional person.